My name's Rafael Schouten from the Open Food Foundation. I'm here today with Paul Mackey, who's also working with us in the UK. I'm a developer and an analyst and starting out as an international coordinator of the Open Food Network platform. Kirsten Larson and Serenity Hill are the founders of our program, and Kirsten was hoping to do our Skype talk today, but we're really busy with crowdfunding and a lot of other things, and that didn't really work out. So I'll be doing some talking through the stuff later, but we're going to start out just showing you our latest crowdfunding video. It'll give you a bit of an overview of what we do, and I'll go into more specifics later on.
It matters less that Kirsten can't join because Raf's here and he's based in the team in Australia who are working on Open Food Network, so it's fortunate he's actually in the UK and has been for the past few months.
And I'm Serenity, and we're the founders of the Open Food Network. The food system currently is controlled by a small number of very large players.
Basically, they're making all the money out of what I'm growing. You know, I do all the work, and they reap the rewards.
Our challenges in distribution are information, and information about this diffuse marketplace.
The administration doing a lot of the back ends and a lot of the ordering and how we go about collating orders and payments.
So we started looking for what kind of software and solutions might be around to actually help enable these hubs and these local food networks. And we looked at a whole range of things around the world. And what we found is that what we were looking for didn't exist. The system doesn't actually work if you don't have the middleman, because it's actually quite complex getting food from the farm gate to the customers in a way that's convenient and affordable. Customers come online and are able to browse the offers of a whole lot of independent stores, independent shops, independent offers, and find what suits them, because convenience is different for different people. No matter who that customer buys through, they can see back to the farmer, so they can read about how the food was grown, they can find out the price that the farmer got. So it enables this transparency in the supply network. We've now got a really highly competent core type development team and great designers, so we're feeling really confident about actually that we can do this. We've got the right people in place. It's already shown that it can help us so much with administration and save a lot of time.
It's going to really close the gap between the consumer and the farmer.
It allows us to play in our own community, but it also allows us to play in a broader marketplace when it suits us.
People all over the world are finding the Open Food Network and are wanting to contribute to it, and it's getting all of this momentum, which is very exciting for us. It's not just a nice thing to do to make it work for farmers. If we don't have farmers into the future, we don't have food. So it's fundamental that it works for them, and it's fundamental that it enables them to grow food in a sustainable, regenerative way. So that's the future that we want to see.
Maybe, Paul, if you wanted to talk about what what you've been doing in the UK?
Sure. Yeah. So obviously that was a kind of crowdfunding video for the crowdfunding campaign that the project's running, which started about 1 to 2 weeks ago, and it's a sort of global campaign. So we're kind of working to contribute to that in the UK, and also obviously it's happening. Anyone can contribute. What's been happening in the UK? So in a way, I'm sort of here on behalf of Nick Weir. He sent his apologies, he wasn't able to attend this, but he was very keen to, would have liked to be able to be here. Nick has founded and has run the Stroudco Food Hub in Stroud for the past 8 years. And he's been kind of a sort of central coordinating person who helped to develop the software that they've used there in Stroudco, which has helped run their food hub. They had some open source software built, quite a few years back now. And that software itself actually has been, I think he says, downloaded about 95 times. There's a short video of him in a sec, but so then he was then also over the past couple of years has been kind of coordinating and sort of bringing people together in the UK and also internationally, which is kind of hence the connection with the Open Food Network project in Australia, on trying to kind of look for better open source software that could be used to kind of take what they're doing on another level. The Stroudco software, isn't really maintainable and has some issues, and so it's a case of looking for kind of something that's significantly improved. Is it worth kind of playing this little?
Yeah.
I'm Nick Weir. I'm a producer member of Stroudco Food Hub. 7 years ago, we wrote some software that is now the focus. It's the centre of Stroudco. Stroudco is a not-for-profit social enterprise trading local food to local people. Over those 7 years, we've grown to 54 local food producers, food and drink producers, who are selling their products to 511 local households, trading here at Stroud Valley School in Stroud in Gloucestershire every Saturday morning. The software has evolved slowly over those years. It's now being downloaded by 95 other community groups that we know of, and some of those groups have adapted that software and are using it for similar hubs in other parts of the UK. All of us are finding that the software has reached the limits of its development. It can no longer do the things we need it to do, and we are wanting to rewrite that software. So we were very excited to learn of what's happening in Australia with the Open Food Foundation, and we are very committed to working with Open Food Network to adapt their software to work here in the UK. We firmly believe that open source is the way to go. We want to develop a commonwealth of software that is jointly developed by the people who are using that software, and it's jointly owned by that collective of food hubs. So very excited to be part of the Open Food Network process, and looking forward to raising enough cash to pay the people who develop the software to do further work to make it work here in the UK.
Okay, so there are our crowdfunding videos, obviously, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into what's going on at the moment. Thanks, Paul, for talking about the UK a bit.
I've been sort of kind of working closely with Nick on kind of working on sort of fundraising and networking, and also some more technical type stuff to kind of help bring the Open Food Network software over here, and working with Rafael and the rest of the guys in Australia.
Okay, so I'll now go into some more details about kind of the technical kind of structure behind what we're doing, and how we're trying to structure not only the software but also our organisation, and how we're working with other players around the world. So the Open Food Network is a project of the Open Food Foundation, which is set up as we're trying to start a kind of holding body to hold discussions and projects around technology in the food area. So this is all quite new, kind of public as of the last few months. The Open Food Network is currently supported by Vic Health in Victoria, Australia, Sustainable Table, Melbourne University, and Institute for Broadband Enabled Society. So we have a few backers on different scales in Australia. Okay, so basically what we're trying to do is enable diverse connections between consumers, producers and distributors. And as you saw in the video, to us distributors are a pretty key component generally. We do most of our work with distributors, not directly with farmers. So often the distributors are doing that work with the farmers themselves and doing their own marketing And a lot of our role is to facilitate the work of distributors. The farmers are also often distributors themselves, so it's a more complex situation. But yeah, we're often working at a slightly larger scale than what Farm Drop is working on. That's a really interesting scale as well, and a lot of the simplicity of the system really works well on that scale. The scale we're working on, our system has to be more complicated. We have to make software that works in a number of like really diverse environments in different countries, in very like structurally different networks. Yeah, the idea of the system is what we've already said today, to get more transparency in the food system, for people to know what they're buying and have direct connections with the farmers, so they know where the food is coming from at all times. So in terms of technology for running food hubs, before I go through this, I just want to say one of the presentations before was talking about there not being much technology for small-scale food hubs. And actually from our experience, there's heaps of technology for small-scale food hubs. It's just invisible. You don't know that it exists. Every country I go to, I meet people using at least 3 or 4 different platforms. A lot of them written really basic PHP or whatever. It's whenever someone gets past the point of using an Excel spreadsheet, they build a simple shopping cart website that barely gets past what they do. Stroudco is a good example of one that got good enough for 5 or 6 groups that we know of to be using it, and 95 to have downloaded it. So there could be a lot more who are using it. But friends in France are using a commercial platform, but it's used by 15 food hubs. It's a commercial project, but they're very small, and you will not find it in a Google search. So we're estimating that there's potentially hundreds of these platforms around the world, very small, very locally adapted, whether it's for a box scheme or a small-scale buying club. So there's already a big market for this kind of software, and there's a lot of people putting a lot of money into this software. And as Kirsten and Serenity discovered early on, none of it's good enough. Because no one has enough money privately to make software of a quality to really run a good shop front. And because it's also obscure, it's really hard to collaborate and to find other people that are doing it and to pool resources. So we're trying to pool resources on a number of levels. We're trying to pool resources on the foundation level, where we get organizations from all around the world to contribute to the same kind of software. A lot of us have the same needs for features. Some of us have different ones, but working out ways of building that into one platform, so there's much less cost overheads to setting up the internet. Yeah, kind of our vision on how the software needs to work is needs to create some of the positive network effects. So when you have separate softwares isolated from each other, you don't have a functional market. People don't have information about what producers are really out there, what other box schemes are available. We're looking at making a functional market where you have a lot of information about what's on sale, about where you can buy from, about changing between different producers and different ways of obtaining local food. And those network effects happen once you get numbers of producers and numbers of hubs on the system. We're looking at a system that enables diversity, so we work with a number of scale of distributors at the moment and producers, from people doing purely wholesale that don't use the front end of their website at all, they just use the back end ordering system, to people doing front end direct sales, people doing drop-off schemes where they're home delivering, farms who do direct marketing. I'll go through some more of those models a bit later on. For us, it's got to be open source. The problem we came up with initially was that there's so many closed source or free and kind of open source but not actually available platforms that we couldn't really find any code to really reuse. So making it open source speeds up collaboration, allows people to see how the system works quickly. Someone posted on Twitter the other day, it took him 15 minutes to spin up an instance of our application and get that working, see how it works himself, and anyone can do that off GitHub whenever they want. You can actually set up your own instance without telling us at all. I'm not sure that's happening yet. Also, the open data is a real issue for us, and keeping those, keeping access to that data public Currently our site already runs off APIs. The front end of our site runs directly off APIs that anyone can actually access with access to the system. So you can get producer data and product data on the system. So if and hopefully when the system scales, there'll be a lot of really useful data on food production in the countries that are using the platform. And buying trends and seasonal trends and all these kinds of things. Build that stuff when there's actually data to do that with. Yeah, and transparency and accountability is the last thing. So our software is built to be able to trace back all the charges put on by any of the enterprises on the way and see how much the producers are originally being paid. Yeah, because similar to Farm Drop, a lot of our motivation is to ensure that producers are paid a fair price. And a lot of this project comes out of the situation in Australia where we have 2 supermarkets, not 6, and they entirely dominate the Australian food network. So they have so much leverage and virtually a monopoly on food that they can pay, a lot of the dairy farmers get a lot less than they produce the milk. So that, it's changing the structure of the Australian food system because all the small players are being knocked out. All right. So this is getting more into the technical details of how it works. Producers and farmers on one side of the system sell through distributors of many kinds, varying business models. And they supply the food onto various kinds of buyers, whether they're individuals buying directly off the front end, food service people, restaurants, hospitals, universities and schools are often a large output as well. Our website is more of it works like Meccano. It's a very put the bits together kind of system. We don't provide an out-of-the-box solution to your specific food hub. We provide the tools to make the food hub that closest represents how your business already functions. So we have our main organising concepts at the moment are producers and hubs. I'm pushing to have wholesale in there as well because in a lot of situations local food production won't carry business out through the year and you need to supplement that with wholesale or supplement it with wholesale dry goods to make your business model large enough and to attract enough buyers. But yeah, these basic building blocks are producers and hubs or producer and hub. You can be both of those in the same business. And they can be combined in multiple ways to produce multiple different kinds of food assemblages, networks. So this is a system of multiple producers marketing and distributing through one hub, like a bulk foods co-op where people buy directly off them. Or you can have a producer marketing through multiple hubs. These are real, actual examples existing in Victoria. So this is one farmer who drops off food at multiple pickup points. And then you have a food hub with multiple outlets and multiple hubs. So you can have an organising hub who has multiple other enterprises working with them as part of the same distribution cycle of the same farmers. But it allows us to scale up and aggregate a lot bigger than any of them could on their own. So we get into order cycles, yeah. This moves on to order cycles. So this is the main organising principle of how the software actually makes products available. Recognising that most systems like this sell food on a periodic basis. You can't order food time. Okay. So a food hub is basically a way of buying food at a particular time. It can be every week. Food hub. An order cycle can be every week, it can be every month. You can mix and match these however you want. You can add as many businesses, enterprises on the producer side or on the distributor side as you like. And you can be running multiple of those at the same time. Any of these businesses can take whatever fees they like, whether it's per kilogram, per price, flat rate, per order. But that will be transparent at the end, but we're not setting any of those variables at the start. So it allows different business models, different shipping methods. Businesses handle their own payments, whether it's PayPal or direct deposit. We also have facilitate regional groupings of organisations to create localised entities. So often our platform will be working at a national scale. And these are organisations we are working with currently. To this side, these are organisations in Australia, bulk food co-ops, food distributors like Local Organics, Healthy Together Mildura. Some of these are government organisations with regional councils in Victoria. That's a lot of our early work. Southeast Food Hub is another regional council. Uniting Care is a charity organisation. And Jonah Farms is a regular farm. And we're at the moment moving to working with some distributors in the UK. I've just set up a UK instance as a trial for Fife Diet. Does anyone know Fife Diet in Scotland? They organise local food. They've been doing a lot of promotion of local food, and now they're moving into actual distribution using our software as the platform. Tamar, Simon here. And it's still in a trial, a beta period, and that will be moving into more of a live production phase over the next 6 months, which we have, moving out of closed beta, trying to get a bit more cash through crowdfunding, and hopefully moving into open beta over the next few months. These are the currently running servers. We also have interest in Canada, the US, and India to set up an instance soon. And this is our team. I just want to say as well, a lot of what we're doing at the moment is around governance and how these kind of projects are shared around the world. If we're running an open source project, we can't run we can't run all these instances for the whole world, and we don't want to. But what kind of structures will run them? Who owns the data? These are open questions that we're trying to work through at the moment, working with the hubs who are starting out.
So certainly in the UK, we've been having discussions and been talking with Nick as well, and thinking that probably some kind of non-profit cooperative, CIC, something of that nature, will probably aim to set up to kind of manage, say, instance here and potentially subscription fees and things like that. So.
A lot of things to resolve still, but it's getting there.